So it's time to delve into some of the more confusing parts of simultaneous equations now. Take a look at the pair equation 1 and equation 2 we've been given here and tell me what you see. Now I suspect what you see is that for the first time we've got a negative of a variable. So, there are two ways we can go about resolving this issue. And we're going to try and use first off what we already know, and then we're going to see if we can discover a new way. So first off, let's stick with what we know. Ignore the negative entirely. Look at those two. What's the magic number? Well done, if you spotted it's 12a. So I'm going to multiply both equations and make them say 12a. So the first one is multiplied by 4 and the second one is multiplied by 3. Now, 3a times 4, b times 4, 44 is 11 times 4. And I'm timesing by 3, times by 3, times by 3, and then times by 3. And this is our new pair of equations, 3 and 4. Do not worry about the negative. Let's do what we would have done before. We're going to eliminate a now because they match just like before. Now this one is bigger than this one. So we're going to do 3 subtract 4. So 12a subtract 12a. Then we're going to do 4b subtract minus 6b. This minus is important. It's this subtract this. Then we're going to do 44 subtract 24. Now 12a subtract 12a gives me nothing, so a has been eliminated. 4b subtract minus 6b is 4b add 6b, which is 10b. So b is 2. Well, let's go through this again and see what we've done. We had a negative, but we ignored it first. We made our a's match. We had a negative still, we ignored it. We did a subtract to eliminate a. The one place that we dealt with the negative was in here. Let me write it bigger so you can see it's 4b, because it was 3, subtract minus 6b, which resulted in 4b plus 6b. So as long as we're careful in one situation, the fact there's a negative makes no difference. And we could now go on to substitute and then to check. Fantastic, you say. Okay, let's look at a different way of solving the same question. And this will be slightly new, but actually some of you will quite like it. We could have decided to make B match. Now if I double the first one, I'll get plus 2b. But plus 2b and minus 2b don't match. So I'm going to multiply the first equation not by 2, but by minus 2. Which gives me minus 6a minus 2b equals minus 22. And I'm going to keep equation 2 exactly the same. So now my B's match. You might be thinking there's a lot of negatives in here, but we can still resolve this just fine. This one, with 4 and 8 being positive, has bigger values than here. So we'll do 2, take away 3. So be careful now, it's 4a subtract minus 6a. Here it's minus 2b subtract minus 2b. And on the end it's 8 subtract minus 22. So 4a subtract minus 6a is 4a add 6a, which is 10a. Minus 2b subtract minus 2b, well, we know it's nothing, but let's show the step. It's minus 2b plus 2b. So now on to the last one. 8 subtract minus 22 is 8 add 22, which is 30. So we can find A that way. Then we can substitute, and then we can check. So what we've looked at here is ignore the minus and just make the positive ones match. Or, now we've looked at make the negative ones match. Over here we had a few minuses or negatives, and over here we had quite a lot of negatives. But both will work out the same. B is 2 here, you will find A is 3 next. Over here where A is 3, you'll then find out B is 2. And then your checks will work. But is there another way of doing this? Well, actually there is. And it comes from here. Let's turn over and try a different way. Pause if you need to copy anything down. So here we go. I'm going to do exactly the same equation, and there'll be 2 steps to this. So here we go. First off, label. Now I'm going to make them match, but not match exactly. I'm going to double the first one to get 6a plus 2b equals 22. And then I'm going to use this pair. And I'm going to eliminate b. Now I know what you're thinking. Sorry, we eliminate b when we have the same amount and we do a subtract. This is not that situation. Well, let me show you a sum. What's minus 2 add 2? That's 0. What's minus 6 add 6? That's 0. Now I can write these as minus 2 add positive 2, or minus 6 add positive 6. Remember, if someone asks how old you are, you don't say I'm plus 34, you just say I'm 34. But there is an extra plus in there. So we're going to use that rule now to help us eliminate b. Because minus 2 add plus 2 is going to eliminate b. So 2 add 3, 4a add 6a, minus 2b add 2b, 8 add 22. So that's 10a. Those two cancel out and eliminate. So moving on, I get 30 on the other side. What we've just done here is we have used the fact that we've got the positive and negative of 2 and we've added them. If we had 3b and 3b, we would do a subtract. If we had 2b and minus 2b, we can add the pair of equations. So if they're the same, we can do a subtract, and if they are different signs, we can add. Let's just do one more briefly down the side here to make sure we're happy. 13x minus 5y equals 12. And then 25x plus 5y equals 26. So these two are different signs, so we're going to add the equations together. And we know that these two will eliminate each other. So we're left with 38x equals 38. Then we can find x, substitute and check. We may have to multiply one equation or even both equations before we do our add. But if we can get them to be different, like so, I'll put that there to make sure it's really clear, we can add the equations together. So we've covered now the two different approaches. You don't have to use this one. You may choose to stick with making one of the positives match and just be careful with the negatives. You may choose to make the negatives the same and be really careful with the negatives. Or you may decide to make a positive and negative have the same value there and then add them to get them to cancel. You need to practice all the scenarios until you feel comfortable. In the next part, we're going to look at some tricky questions and then some funny answers, things that will make you think.